I mean, this is an intense birth chart. Let's look at the south node. His south node lies in Taurus in the 8th house. Look at the negative meanings of the sign of the house because we're looking at what went wrong. Okay, and in Taurus, the more negative trait is kind of immobility. It's something static. It's a circumstance that a person found themselves in where a life doesn't develop, doesn't go anywhere. What did they want to do, but they weren't able to? Okay, what constrained them? Now, first of all, let's notice that Jupiter conjunct the south node, and Jupiter is the king of the gods. So this person, Alexei Navalny, in a different lifetime, as he did in this lifetime, had a charisma about him, and Jupiter is the benefic god. Okay, he wants to spread his faith and hope, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius. It's about faith. So we're starting to understand the personality, the south node and planets that conjuncted, and the ruler of the south node describe who you were and also who you weren't allowed to be. Okay, so now let's look at the ruler of Taurus is Venus, and Venus is in Gemini. It's conjunct the sun. So again, another indication of charisma. Everything revolves around the sun. The sun is the life giver, right? So he was a warm, Jupiterian person, and also he was a Venusian, which has these appealing characteristics. Venus is the goddess of love and beauty. Venus also has to do with your values. Now, isn't it interesting that this Venus Sun conjunction? Okay, and we're still talking about who Alexei Navalny was in a past life and what happened. Okay, we find this conjunction is in Gemini. Gemini wants to speak. Gemini wants to think about ideas, and to communicate. What did he want to communicate? His worldview, his philosophy. Okay, the 9th house, I think, used to be called the house of religion. It's about what principles do you follow? Okay, he tried to communicate his values, his principles, but that didn't work. He couldn't. He was stuck. Okay, South Node in Taurus. This person had a lot of thoughts. They perceive. They couldn't communicate. They couldn't express themselves. The next step in understanding the karmic story is we want to look for planets that either oppose or square the South Node or the South Node ruler, because that tells us what opposed, what forces they were standing against. A force can be, the law, or it can be a person, or it can be both. But here we see that Mars forms an almost exact square to the nodes. Mars about war, okay? So there was a war on him, and Mars is in Leo. Leo is, the king, martial energy, an army, of the king, okay? In the 11th house, right? The 11th house has to do with groups of people, with society at large, with the society that you belong to, okay? All of that was against him, right? You see, in opposition to the South Node, Uranus. Okay, Uranus in Scorpio opposes the South Node in Taurus. He was opposed by a Uranian force. Okay, on the positive side, Uranus has to do with sudden flashes of genius, individuality, but on the negative, Uranus can indicate trauma and sudden trauma. Something strikes you out of the blue, the god of lightning. So he was struck down, node in the 8th house, and he traumatically died. Okay. Now the North Node is where your soul needs to develop in order to evolve, in order to break through those oppositions and those squares and those things that kept us back, right? I think it's obvious that Alexei Navalny definitely was doing his North Node. Okay, and that's in the big picture. That's really the raison d'être. That's our life mission, okay, to get to that North Node. In his case, what does that mean? North Node in Scorpio. Scorpio is about exposing the truth. Scorpio is about exposing taboo. Scorpio is about pointing to everything that's being covered, that people don't want to look at, or that someone doesn't want other people to look at, so they cover it. Okay, but the Scorpio person is going to uncover that. And what did Alexei Navalny do? He exposed corruption in the Kremlin, okay? And isn't it interesting that the North Node is in the second house? The second house has to do with money, okay? Your resources, among other things. So exposing Scorpio is uncomfortable. It's going to make people feel uncomfortable, the people in power. He came here to be a troublemaker, a twice over troublemaker. One is the scorpionic energy. Two is the Uranus is, I want to be exactly who I am, and and you can like me for that, and you can dislike me for that, and I don't care, because I am going to do exactly what I need to do, and what I see is the truth. I'm going to go after that.